This is NewsNation Now. I'm Nichole Berlie in Chicago. I thank you so much for sticking with us. Our special breaking news coverage continues as now admitted killer Bryan Kohberger pleads guilty to 5 federal counts, 4 of which are for the murders of 4 University of Idaho students back in November of 2022.
On the state's proffer and, importantly, based upon defendants' explicit admission to committing these crimes, the court finds there is a factual basis. Therefore, with respect to count 1, burglary, felony, how do you plead, Mr. Kohberger, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 2, murder in the first degree, as it relates to the murder of Madison Mogen, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 3, as it relates to murder in the first degree for the murder of Kaylee Gonsalves, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 4, the first-degree murder of Xana Kernodle, a human being, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 5, the first-degree murder of Ethan Chapin, a human being, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Well, just over a month until his trial was set to start, Bryan Kohberger reversing course and admitting to the murders in court. I'd like to welcome in attorney and legal analyst Nichole Berlie to break some of this down for us. All right, Nichole, I want to start with what happens next. We know the next court date is July 23rd. Walk us through what we can expect.
We can expect a sentencing, and really sometimes and most of the time sentencing is not known. Here, I think we can expect 4 consecutive life sentences. We know Bryan Kohberger is not getting out of prison again for the rest of his life, and there will be some sort of sentencing memos that will be submitted to the judge. But in this case, due to the plea agreement, we really do know the outcome of that sentencing hearing.
And we've heard from the families of the victims throughout this more than 2-year ordeal. That is their lives. We'll hear the victim impact statements. Talk about what we could hear.
We will hear from each of the families. This will be their time to speak, and I think the judge will give unlimited time to any family members or anyone that wants to speak about the impact of these murders. And that is really their time. There's no longer a trial, so there's not time there to speak about it. But during the sentencing is the appropriate time to hear how their lives have been upended by the murders. And it will be sad and it will be awful, but part of it is to offer some closure to the victims' families.
And the judge, Judge Stephen Hippler, also was talking about possible restitution as one of the punishments, possible restitution to the victims. In this case, it would be the victims' families. Would that include, say, any potential book or media deal? Because I know many times we'll see those deals struck and that can make people very angry.
Yes, Bryan Kohberger, I think, under all terms that are negotiated with the prosecution, ruled on by the judge, I think he will not be able to profit off of these crimes. I don't think any money he has should be going to the victims' families, and they'll find a way to figure out really the method that happens. I don't think he has a lot of money. He's been represented by a public defender. But what will happen is basically they will get the amount of closure that the court can offer them, and all of his avenues for future income or leaving prison should be cut off through this sentencing hearing.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.